as I was driving one of those movie responses first time watching Monty Python's on the Holy Grail, and it was this girl I listen to sometimes named Popcorn in Bed. She's a little ditzy, but I appreciate her honest reactions to thing, and she's just cracking up through this whole movie, going, "This is so stupid." And she gets to the end where they get arrested. They're charging, and they get arrested, and she's like, "What the hell did I just watch? That's it? What happens? Wait!" It's just. But the whole movie, she's cracking up, especially at any of the off-color jokes, like how this is so
I
idiotic.
know, it's brilliant.
Uh, and then the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. The cartoon peril was no more. As soon as he said that, she goes, "Can't I have a little peril?" I was like, That's funny." Uh, okay. Anyway, sorry. We got a game to play because Jim's on limited time. Um, and do you guys ever get the sense playing Alien RPG? Do you ever get the sense when you're getting close to the end of the scenario?
Just a little bit.
It's usually when the stress starts getting really high and people start getting hurt, and there's an alien in your midst. Just saying.
What do you mean? This is like the first time that's ever happened.
God, I love this game. Um,
To quote Serenity, do you really think any of us is making it out of here? Well, I might.
that's right.
No, man, this is game over. Game over, man.
Or to quote Monty Python, "I'm not dead yet. I, I think I might pull through."
It's only a flesh wound.
Oh, sweet Concord. All right. So yeah, where we left off, and I've actually got an emblem for the alien soldier this time. If you look on the map,
Very nice.
um, and yeah, it just went all out on poor TB and broke her. She's on the ground with a busted kneecap. She can speak and she can crawl, but she can do nothing else. Of course, Dr. Mercer, Ace was able to get Dr. Mercer up and running, and Dr. Mercer immediately whips out his surgical kit to fix the blood pumping out of his leg and realizes that it's just too much to handle and starts crawling away. Um, Meanwhile, Elena is probably standing right next to an alien going, "How the fuck did I get here? What am I going to do?" Uh, we finished a round of combat.
Time to die.
Yeah, wake up. It's time to
Time
die.
to
Oh God! All right, that's it. That's it. After this, I'm not doing any other work today. I got tons of work I got to do for my books. I'm not going to do any of it. I'm just going to watch probably Aliens, Blade Running, Monty Python, and Excalibur. I'm spending all my day and night watching those four movies. Um,
Perfection.
yeah, exactly. That sounds like the best day ever. Um,
All right.
we're back to the beginning of the combat round, which puts Elena. What would you
All
like
right.
to do,
So
Elena?
she just saw that TB goes down.
Yep.
Now, remind me the room with the power source, or that we had theorized
Oh,
contained the power
That's
source,
way far away.
yeah.
is way far away.
So you guys, you should be looking at the map of sublevel 1, correct?
Yep.
And you are in room 4 of sublevel 1. If you
Correct.
look at room 2, the right side of the edge of room 2 is a balcony looking down over a natural cavern. The
Right.
cavern, which I just moved you guys to just for reference purposes, has been mapped by your pups. The power source is down in cavern 4.
So it's a level down
That's what I thought.
in 4. Yep. It's a long way away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, as I recalled, it connected. So TB has gone down. Doctor's gone down. Ace is fumbling around over the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think it is most in character if Elena takes off in a sprint towards room 2 in the balcony.
Okay. So you are in engaged range with the alien, which means you have to make a successful mobility roll
Okay.
in order to leave that engaged range. Now let's talk about this for just a moment before you make that roll.
Okay.
Um, I don't know what your mobility score is, but I think it's
0.
okay. So but you have dice from agility, so you've got a total of what, 4 dice? I think.
Right.
Yeah.
To play it fair, though, I believe she was trembling.
Good point. All right. So now, of course, I'm sure you have a high stress level, which is going to give you additional dice. But it's
Okay.
important to realize that if you get no successes, or if you end up with a panic roll of 10 or higher, your mobility roll fails, and the alien
Okay.
will get a free attack.
Okay.
Okay. So that's just to keep all that in mind. And of course, I'm sure Elena still has story points. I don't, or I should say, I'm sure you, Kyle, still have story points. I don't think you've used any this game.
Yeah, I've got 2.
So just a mechanics reminder, and that's the last time I'm going to be helpful to you guys.
And the story point does what?
It just gives you an automatic success without rolling.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Um, gotcha. Gotcha. Excuse me. All right. Well, then we're going to use a story point to get away,
All
and
right.
I'm going to use my full action to run to the balcony.
All right. So click off one,
Okay.
and oh shit, hold on. Well, can I reach? Can I reach? I made the mistake of not having my manual handy. I'm sorry. And I don't have PDFs of any of these books, actually. I just have physical books, which seems kind of odd, I freely admit, but I really kind of prefer my physical books. So the running allows you to, because you have a fast action and a slow action. Of course, you can use movement for both. And I just need to be sure about one thing. Um, yeah, so basically, that will allow you to get 2 zones away, which moves you, we'll say, to the far end of room 3. Okay?
Okay. So maybe we think we almost hear her mumble something under her breath as she momentarily, looks down at TB being eviscerated, and then sprints. And as she's runs through the hallway, and we see Dr. Mercer crawling. Is that right?
Yep.
She barely even looks at him, and as she passes Ace, she says, "Ace, come on, let's go."
Okay. Very good. That gets us to TB's round, and TB, you can crawl and speak.
Ah, my leg! You gonna leave me?
Are you choosing to
Son of
crawl?
a bitch! Son of a bitch, you gonna leave me? Um, yeah, I don't know. She doesn't. Just
Sorry,
her.
Sharif. It's written in my character's personality.
Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so much for steamy shower scenes.
if it says corporate in front of your name in this game, it's always the same.
One day I'm gonna play a corporate agent who actually really is a nice guy. He's
Just in
not
a
very
bad place.
successful.
Been answering phones for the last 30 years.
That's right.
I can't get promoted. I don't know why. I just want to help people. I just want to help people.
Someone who truly believes the corporations are actually a
Yeah.
force for good in the universe.
We can make a difference in people's lives. I can't. I can only crawl and speak. I can't do any combat related. Nothing.
Nothing, correct.
Okay. If only I had a grenade, I could go out like Lieutenant. What's his name?
Gorman, yeah.
Gorman. Thank you. All right. I guess
Um,
I will. I don't know. What does this thing look like it's going to do next? Dessert?
It's, well, it's going to make one of two options. I mean, just based on its behavior, what you've seen so far, your tactical mind probably indicates that it tried to pick up Mercer and run away with him. So it's probably either going to try to do the same to you, or it's going to go after the next threat. But you don't know which. But that's the behavior you've seen it. That's what you've seen it do so far.
All right. Is there somewhere I can hide? I don't know what to do. There's nothing to do really.
Not really. I mean, there's broken computer panels and stuff like that in this room. So I mean, theoretically, you could probably try to crawl into one of those types of spaces.
For lack of anything else to do, I guess I'll just crawl into a little
That's
hole
fine.
and
Into a
die.
cubby hole and
Yeah,
die. You're not dead yet.
they mostly come out at night anyway.
That's right.
So,
Um,
so is TB
Mostly.
officially broken?
yeah. Oh yeah. She's broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
I broke my favorite toy.
And we'll leave that one alone. The the alien moves on a 3, so I am going to go with an even odd situation. Even, it's going to do something with TB, or odd, it's going to go after the next threat. Odd. Oh, so it uses its fast action to move into the little vestibule with Ace.
Oh no.
You ready, Ace?
Always ready for this part.
Jim's
Turn the
like, do I
blender
have a
on.
choice?
Turn the blender on and put your hand in it.
That's right. Which is switch next to the garbage disposal.
Jesus. Ace, do you have any armor?
I do not believe.
I don't think you do.
Uh, trying to figure out where to find that.
It's
Armor.
just above the weapons, right
Zero.
below the stat
Yep.
block.
0.
All right, so you take 2 damage, and your stress level goes up 1.
What did he hit me with? I missed that part.
It's an all-out attack, so it's just coming at you with claws,
Oh.
teeth, and tail.
All right, so I'm down to 1 health.
All right, so you are not broken. You're doing just fine. Everything's good. And that actually brings us to Ace's turn. Oh, and make sure you up your stress level 1.
Yep, went up to 4.
Okay.
Okay, so I have an empty pistol, right?
Correct.
And I got the creature. Creature is right next to me, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think I need to try to run, which means disengage, and he's gonna get a shot at me, right?
Okay, so the first question becomes, which direction are you planning to run away? Back towards room 4 and TB, or are you following Elena?
I think I'll follow Elena.
All right, very good. So, you have, to disengage, you need a successful mobility roll.
Okay. And yeah, because of my, I don't know if the reckless thing will apply to this since it's an
Well,
agility.
if you don't succeed, as long as you don't panic,
Right.
you can push agility up to twice, which of course increases your stress each time. So it gets increasingly dangerous, but it can be of use here. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, here we go.
all right.
Oh my
God.
What is that?
That is the best roll ever.
I don't know.
Would
It's
you
full of aliens right there.
would you please make your panic roll? Hit the die on the stress chart.
Ah,
Wow.
Okay, you're keeping
Hey!
it
yeah,
together.
Wow,
Because-
Ace.
that's crazy how I roll that every time.
And
Badass.
you have 4 successes, which is pretty outrageous. That gives you, so first off, your fast action moves you away and into room 3. You've got a slow action if you want to just use that slow action to continue to run. That moves you into the vestibule between rooms. That's up to you.
No, I'll use this. That wait, so I have a fast action. I can reload with that, right?
You can reload with the slow action, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and reload.
Okay, so that's fine. Now you have 3 stunts for mobility, which is pretty outrageous.
I'm not sure what those give.
Well,
me.
I was looking at mobility stunts. You
You
can
fly
give
through the airport
you
like
can give
Ojek.
you can give a 6 to someone in a similar situation. You can take +1 on a later related roll, which might be handy if you're running. Or you can impress someone.
And I got 4 of these.
You have 3. Unfortunately, there are no PCs in a similar situation at this moment in time, because no one else is in engaged range with the alien.
Right.
So
All right. Well, I'm not.
Well,
I'm not.
and TB's broken, so technically it wouldn't help anyway.
no,
Okay.
No, I just hold on to them.
bake the +3.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Alrighty, that works very well. And then we come to the alien.
When does Mercer go?
Oh, he's on a 9.
Oh, last.
Yeah, he's last. Um, all right, so the aliens got a couple different options here. Um, the aliens got a couple different options, so we're just going to go. Either way, it's got to move to do something. So I'm going to just give it a D4 roll, go from left to right. Which, by the way, do you guys display on the screen in the same order that I do, like at the bottom where you see everybody's avatar, or is it unique to you? Do you guys know? Because I've got me first, Sharif, Marty
Yeah,
V,
no.
then Kyle, then Marty VP, and then Jim.
It's unique to me.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can move our own
I got you.
horses around. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm
We
going
trust you. Get
from
on with it.
left to right. On my side is TB, Elena, Mercer, and Ace. Number one, it goes back for TB. So it's as its fast action is going to move in here, pick up TB, or move in there for its fast action. For its slow action, it's going to pick up TB,
Oh boy.
who just dropped. There he is.
Help! Help me! Help me! Help me! Oh Lord! Ain't nobody got time for this.
Mercer, it is your turn, sir. You are unbroken, but you really can't move because you're gushing blood from the leg outside of crawling.
All right. So what I need to understand is the timing, because the previous 11 said seek cover. It says after one round you can act normally. So do I have to wait this round to act normally?
No, no, I
All
don't
right.
think so. I think it just means you lose that action. I've never played it
Okay.
that way, at least.
All right. So I'm going to use my surgical kit and a story point to fix myself.
Very good. That does fix your. Sorry, I got a pencil in my mouth. That does fix your critical injury, which it was a femoral artery. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You were in big trouble. Now, to let you know what this means, even though you're no longer bleeding to death, um, you're not healed. Okay, so what that means is you're going to have -1 to mobility, and you cannot use a fast action to move. Moving a zone becomes a slow action for you.
Okay.
So, but fixing yourself was your slow action. You do have a fast action. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but that's up to you.
I have no idea what to do with it. Um, I have no idea what to do with it because we talked about this last time. Can I use my medical aid roll on myself or only on others?
No, you can use it on yourself. Yeah.
Okay. And so I have a I have a fast action left.
Correct.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with a fast action either. I can't move with a fast action.
Right.
I don't have any weapons to pull. Uh,
Unless you want to
although,
brandish your scalpel.
What are you supposed
yeah,
to use? Harsh language?
my health is
Or a
one.
bit
So
of
if I
stuff?
get up close and personal enough to use my scalpel, I'm in really big trouble. But you know what? Since I have the surgical kit out anyway, I'm just going to keep the scalpel in hand
All right.
just because it's all I got.
Good enough. All right. So it moves us to the top of the round. And Elena, it is your turn.
All right, she runs into zone 2
Okay.
and begins to look for a way down the balcony.
Okay. I'll let you make an observation roll.
Ooh, okay. Observe. Meanwhile, the screeching siren soundtrack to Prometheus is definitely happening.
It's great.
All right.
That's fantastic. Look at you go. Um, so you do not see. You certainly don't see a way down. You know this balcony. When I say balcony, I mean it's not even a rail. It's basically just a ledge overlooking this natural cavern.
Okay.
It you you know there's that in and let's move to map 3 for a second just to help with the visual or map sublevel 2. So obviously you're overlooking this giant room 3,
Yep.
or giant cavern 3, which is mostly dish just like the one in the upper level but much 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 larger. um, Other than that, the room doesn't seem to have much else. There are 3 hexagonal plates down on the floor, um, like below the ledge and slightly inset into the room. That is the only other feature that you can see of that cavern.
How far down?
You would ask me that question. I'm sorry, and that was a very valid question. Where the hell is my PDF? There it is. Do 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 do.
Let's call it 4 feet.
50 meters.
Oh, 50 meters. Holy fucking shit. Um,
What, you thought this would be easy?
oh man, is there any stairwell or
No,
elevator or
no.
can are there is this a sheer cliff face?
It actually is a ledge that juts out a little bit. It looks like the cliff face actually is inset underneath the ledge,
Oh, Jesus.
and I'm gonna say that uses up your observation stunts.
Okay.
I, yeah, I'm a mean man. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I'm laughing at your TB. It's your turn. You're in the clutches of the alien.
Is there any chance to use a story point to get off one last attack before it's lights out?
You know what? You're damn straight there is.
Damn right. That was awesome. All right,
Hell
let's
yeah.
do it. Let's go full auto too. Let's just
Oh
empty the
shit!
magazine.
While it's holding you.
Oh wow.
Told me it's going to be an acid bath.
Oh my god. Okay.
For you, Elena. I'm doing this for you.
So,
So you can like never sleep again for the rest of your life.
That's right.
She ran away, and I gave up my life for you.
So
No,
this
no.
thing's
I
this
love you
thing's
so much.
moving into and it starts to scoop you up, and TB in perfect cinematic badassery lifts her assault rifle and aims it right at the center mass of this thing and unloads. So for the aim and the full auto, you get +4 dice. It is engaged range, so it's -3. So a total bonus your range combat attack of +1. Oh wait, you're using a story point, so you automatically hit. Well, no, I'm letting you use the story point to do the attack. So go ahead and make the roll at a +1, because
Can I use the other story point to automatically hit?
you can if you like. Yeah, yeah,
Sure, why
absolutely.
not?
Unless you want the extra dice to try and do as much damage as possible.
Mm,
I mean, I don't know
there's
how
no
many
going
stress
back
you
though.
have. I don't know what your risk of. I
I
don't
have
know.
a stress level of 3.
Yeah, so your risk of panicking is not ginormous. Actually, with a stress level of 3, mechanically speaking, for with a stress level of 3, even if you panic and you get the worst panic roll possible, it's only a 9. So no matter what, your action cannot fail.
Due to
Okay.
panic.
Due to panic,
Due
yeah,
to
I can
panic.
still roll like poop, right?
Oh, you could still theoretically miss, yeah, but you have
I
2
would
story
just,
points left
I think so, right? Where are those? I'm sure I didn't use any, but
on
story points. Yeah,
the.
2. I have 2.
So my advice as the GM would be to make the roll at a +1. That way you get as many bonus dice as you can, and if you miss, you can still retroactively use the story point to hit.
Now, see, that's good advice. All right, we're doing that. We're doing what Marty said.
So at a +1, you have 2 successes. Your weapon does 2 damage automatically. You've got a bonus. You've got a bonus stunt.
More damage.
More damage. All right, very good. Um,
Fuck you, bug.
All right, so its armor absorbs 1 point of damage. So it takes two. And for some
Push
reason,
to
the
make up an
acid
ability.
splash roll does not work on this. So I'm about to make what it's going to say is a second armor roll. It's not the armor roll, it's the acid splash. Because for some reason, the acid splash die doesn't work. It took 2 points of damage, so it gets a bonus of two.
Oh,
Oh man.
poor
So
TV.
yeah, you unload into this thing. You full clip
Wow.
blasting right into center mass, punches through armor. The thing screams, and this stuff just sprays everywhere.
Oh.
It's melting computer components. It splashes all over TV. TV was already broken, so it. Oh my God, this is gonna be so brutal.
Whoa.
It's
This is
just a carcass, a half melted carcass, huh?
All right. Would you please roll a d66?
Oh Lord.
A
Moving like
46.
Amberoo.
Perfect. Would you please roll another one? I'm not gonna lie to you. I need four of these altogether. So
Four.
yes,
Okay. Oh crap.
because
Okay.
4 points
this
of
is
damage
two,
while broken is four
and then
criticals.
here's three, and then here's four. 65. Oh my God. That's head explode, I believe,
The
on the chart.
the first bit of acid sprays all over the your gun and the hand you're using to steady it, and
It's fine.
your
It's
hand
fine.
yeah
It's fine.
your
I'm okay.
hand
I'm okay.
yeah, it's your hand, and then it's acid sprays through and into your into across your belly and your
It's fine.
and
I'm okay. I'm okay.
and then the last splash hits your head, and
Uh-oh.
and yeah, TB is
Oh.
melted. Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
And my
Oh,
final
man.
words are glug, glug, glug.
Epic way to go out.
um, yeah, you know in Gremlins when Stripe finally gets melted down by the sunlight at the end, or was that his name Stripe? Yeah, the bad Gremlin with the mohawk.
yeah, Stripe or
Yeah,
Spike? Stripe, I think.
yeah.
It's been a long
Uh,
time since I've thought of that character.
the '80s were such a magical time,
Who knew that that was going to be the pinnacle of movie making?
dude. No joke. Um, okay. Uh, TB, absolutely epic. I I just that's one of those things as a GM where I just absolutely have to let you do that because it's just fucking epic. So,
That was
um,
fun. That was fun.
that
Goodbye,
yeah,
TB.
yeah, I'm just gonna
That was great.
delete.
Delete TB. She is a smear on the ground.
The alien
It's a badge of
abs,
honor to die, by the way, to die by aliens.
es-
By an alien. It's a badge of honor.
especially in
Everyone
the most
should
gruesome way possible.
Yeah, everyone should experience it. It's great.
It is the alien's turn. The alien. Oh, that was the alien's turn. No. I'm sorry. That was TV's turn. So it's the alien's turn. The alien, seeing that its foe is done for, screams in frustration and uses its fast and slow action to move into engaged range with Dr. Mercer.
Oh,
Ace, it is your turn.
It is. Okay, so am I? I thought I moved into two. No,
You're at the far end of room 3.
far end of room
You were
three.
heading towards 2, but you didn't get there.
Okay. And let's see. Did I reload yet? No, I don't think so.
Is
Yeah,
that
you
closing
did.
the door in
You-
between 2 and 3?
There is, but you notice that the doors seem to open automatically.
Oh, man.
You did reload. You fast action to the far end of 3 and used your slow to reload.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a shot at it since I'm on the other side of the room.
Very good. So it's close range, no penalty. You have a fast and a slow. Did you want to aim with your fast, or did you
Yep,
just want
I'll
to?
aim.
All right, so you get +2.
So it's close combat or range combat.
No, it's ranged combat. Now your pistol doesn't your pistol have a bonus?
I'm not sure. It's the fourth M4A3.
Yeah, the M4A3 has a +2 bonus, so that means your ranged combat attack gets a total of +4.
Wow. Okay. I'll probably still. Let's see. Oh,
Wow. Ooh.
Roll your
it's the
panic,
best roll.
please.
It's the best roll I've had.
No whammies.
Nervous twitch. All right. So, yeah, your stress level and stress level of Mercer goes up by one as you kind of lose it and just you probably saw TV with her final stand and you know Mercer's in trouble and you aim your gun and it's just and the nerves get to you and you're just pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling that trigger and bullets are flying everywhere. The bad news is I think you just used your last reload. The good news is you hit immensely well. Your gun does one damage base. You have three stunts for ranged combat.
Yeah, yeah. All damage.
All damage. So 4 points of damage. 4 points
Is,
of
is his gun
damage.
armor piercing?
It is not.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I get 10 armor dice. And
10.
here it
Man.
comes. Oh, four
Oh.
successes! Oh my god!
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Rounds just ricochet off this thing's armored carapace, and you're out of bullets.
Oh, that's crazy. Alrighty then.
But what would have been better? One success, you do 3 damage to it, and then Mercer's subjected to a 13 dice acid splash.
Right.
The alien is so evil.
What's wrong with a little acid splash?
That's right. The alien gets its second turn. Now, I'm going to make a roll here. Even it sticks with Mercer. Odd, it goes after the guy that just shot at it. Even it sticks with Mercer. Okay. Here goes nothing.
Hmm.
Capture for the hive. Okay.
Oh boy.
Mercer. This thing hisses and whips its tail at you. This barb punches right into your chest. You take 1 point of damage, which I think breaks you.
Correct.
Okay. But the good news is there's no critical. Would you please make a stamina roll?
Uh,
You succeeded. Um,
that's not good.
well, no, it is good
No.
in a way. As you slump to the floor, because you are broken, even though there's no critical, you just don't have the energy to continue on. You can feel you feel something. It's like your veins are on fire. Your medical knowledge, your biological knowledge of which because you're medically trained, right? You've got a medical aid score. You're fairly certain you've been poisoned as you feel a lethargy start to come upon you. And that gets us to Mercer's turn, but Mercer is broken. He can crawl and speak.
And drool.
Yeah.
Um, I'm wondering if Mercer could do something a little different. I know he's broken, but he can crawl. If he could crawl instead of crawling, could he lift up his video camera and start taking video of the alien?
I'll give you that. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So he's taking video of the alien and he yells to Ace, Get out of here.
All right. We are
Well
back
played.
to the top of the round. Elena, what would you like to do?
All right. So this is metagamey, but I'm wondering if maybe you would give me a wits roll on this or something.
Shoot.
I'm noticing on the map the hexagons indicate a grav tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, um, is there a mechanical justification for potentially her recognizing this in some way?
I will give you an observation roll.
Okay. All right. Sorry, loading the sheet. All right, so that's an observation roll, which is now is that under wits or is it
Yeah, it's under wits.
okay? Now I have this talent cunning. I can push a wits based roll
Twice if you
twice.
need to.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna roll observation.
Very good.
Okay.
Three successes.
Wow.
What is it that you're trying to do again, Kyle?
He's trying to
Well,
figure out.
I'm trying to figure out on the map the hexagonal pieces are labeled as grav tube, and I'm wondering if she can recognize like some similar technology to the elevators we were just on.
So, as it's like you're struck by lightning, or if it were a cartoon, a light bulb just went off over your head. As you think about all the technology you've witnessed, like the elevators in the Scorpion Tail, for example, which seem to have no mechanics that you guys recognize, and all this strange technology that just doesn't seem to operate under the rules of machines as you guys understand them. And no one would design this. There's no way down to this cavern complex. You guys have explored this sub-level 1, this underground area, and if you found no way down, no one would design this without an obvious way of egress or egress ingress down into that cavern. So it's coming to you, like I said, like a lightning bolt, that maybe, just maybe, those hexagonal plates are operate under something similar to the platforms in the Scorpion's tail. And yeah,
Okay, so
and that uses your slow action, just so you know.
all right, so given that the alien is literally right behind us,
Yep.
and I think this is she has gone from panic to full survival mode. It's carving through the entire party. I think we see a slow mo shot of her jumping off the ledge with the idea of attempting to get into the vertical column of one of these grab tubes.
Yep. All right. All right. I like it. I
All
like
right.
it. So you take that leap of faith.
Oh boy.
And you, for whatever reason, you don't start to panic. Maybe it's the knowledge that if this doesn't work, you're probably dead anyway, right?
Right. Right.
Or maybe you've just come to the conclusion that this is what it is, but for whatever reason, you jump off that ledge, and just as you reach the area over the hexagonal plate far below 50 meters below, and you feel something take hold,
Oh
and
god.
you are brought down to land on that hexagonal plate down below. Now, I need you to make a mobility roll, please.
Okay. Mobility.
Two successes, very good. And I don't think there's much you can. I mean, I don't know. You can decide. You do have one stunt, but if you didn't have such an excellent sense of balance, you could see how you could have fallen and hurt yourself when you land. But yeah, you land like a cat. You have a mobility stunt, which I mean, really, all that applies in this case is you could show off, or you could bank a point for a mobility roll later.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. She shows off. She like lands on the pad, and then uh like the first button in her jumpsuit is like open, and there's like a glistening sweat, and she like tosses back her hair, and
God
then looks
damn.
around looks
Liv,
around the
Liv
cavern.
returns from the dead. Hello?
All right, and so as I recall, just player knowledge, we looked at, was it cave 1 and 2 or cave 4? It was
Cave
Before.
4 had the immense power supply in it.
okay.
Yeah, but I don't think we went to Cave 4.
No, no, but the pups mapped
The
it. Yeah.
pups mapped it, but we didn't go there because partially we didn't explore the caverns because there was a xenomorph running around in there.
All right. So she takes a step towards cave 4 and says, "You want something done right? You got to do it yourself."
All right, very good. Brings us to sorry, rip TB. Let's move us back to sublevel 1. Brings us to the aliens' first turn. Um, the alien uses its slow action to pick up Mercer, and then uses its fast action to move into that vestibule between 2 and 3. Now, technically, that does have it go right by Alex, which means it has to make a mobility roll to not allow Ace a free attack.
Oh yeah. So I'll just get up and punch it in the nose.
Well, it succeeded its mobility roll, so
Yeah.
no dice there.
Not only
Um,
that, you didn't even see it go by.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was just a black blur. Um, all right, brings us to Ace's turn.
Well, shit. That ruins my plan. We never made it to 4, right?
What's that?
We never made it to room 4.
No, no, room 4 is where you guys came in from the
It's where everything
Scorpion's tail.
started.
Yeah, that's where
Oh,
the whole
that's
battle
right.
started.
Oh shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So wait a second. We came in on 1, right?
You originally explored this area in 1, and then you
Yeah.
left, and then you came back via the
Right.
Scorpion's tail, which exited you in room 4.
Hold
I
on, I
see.
got to step away.
Go ahead.
So 4 leads back to the scorpion tail. Well, seeing as that the alien ignored me and he's got his hands full, I'm gonna follow behind it, and I don't know if I have enough turn to try that same jump as Elena did.
Well, the problem is it's between you and
Yeah,
her. So if you can use both your moves to move into room 2. And to be honest, and technically, because you're going past the alien, you would have to do a mobility roll to get away from it. But considering it's literally carrying Mercer, I'm not going to make that happen.
yeah,
It wouldn't stop what it's doing to attack you at this point.
right. Yeah. So let me go ahead and do that.
All right, so that gets you to the same ledge that she jumped off of. You see her down below.
Right.
Um, you see her down below,
Okay.
and that brings us to the alien's second move, to which moves. It moves into the room, and it climbs right over the ledge and disappears. Elena, from your perspective, it's climbing on the the underside of the ledge while carrying Mercer.
Oh shit. Okay.
Um, and that brings us to Mercer's turn, who he can only speak anyway, and he stepped away. So, top of the round, top of the round, we're at Elena's turns. Let's go back to the sub-level map so we can see what Elena wants to do.
All right. She reloads her pistol
Okay, that's your
and
slow action. You have a fast action.
runs for the tunnel connecting to
Cavern
Cavern
4.
4.
All
Yep.
right, so I'll let you get into the tunnel itself, and then that brings us to TB, who's melted, and brings us to
Oh boy.
the alien carrying Dr. Benjamin Mercer drops down the wall a little bit and then drops to the floor as its first action. Elena, you're aware of it, scrambling down behind you as you run by. And then it moves into there, carrying Mercer.
Oh shit.
Which brings us to Ace.
All right, leap of faith.
All right, you need to. You step off, and again this gravity takes hold. You've never done this before, so you have to make a successful mobility roll, and you have plus 3 dice from your last set of stunts. So
Okay,
mobility at
can I
plus
do
3,
that?
please. Yep.
Oof.
Roll your panic.
Uh-huh.
God, these rolls, successes and panics.
Yeah. So what does that do to me?
Well, I don't know. Roll your panic first. We got to find out.
Yeah, we gotta find
You dropped an item. Okay, I'm going to look at that and, well, yeah, that's an obvious
it.
solution.
Yeah.
All right,
There
so
goes my pistol.
as as Ace steps off into open air, he realizes this is the stupidest thing he's probably ever done in his life. You're literally stepping into open air 50 meters from the ground, and then the gravity startles you as it takes hold and lowers you. Now, you manage to land safely without hurting yourself, but in midair, you drop the pistol and it falls to the cavern floor and shatters when it hits the ground.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
You do have 2 mobility stunts that I don't know how these really help you per se right now, except if you just want to bank it for +2 on your
Yeah,
next
just thinking.
mobility.
But I do go up in stress, right? By 2?
Um, no, you don't go up in stress. You're
I
good.
don't.
Oh no, your stress does go up by 1. I apologize because you did drop an important item. We'll say.
And broke it.
And yeah, a pistol is not. I just don't feel like a pistol surviving a 50-meter fall to a cavern floor.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, it could, but it's not going to because that wouldn't be cinematic. Um, the alien's second move, Ace. You watch as the alien carrying Mercer disappears down into, turns a corner into another cavern. Um, um, Mercer, are you there? You back? Guess not. That's fine. No problem. Um, which also brings us to the alien's turn, which it's doing something in there. Mercer probably cries, "Help me!" Or maybe he cries. Maybe he's calling, "Kill me!" as the alien disappears around the corner.
He's taking video.
Elena, what would you like to do?
All right. Pistol out.
Yep.
She enters cavern 4 and
As
goes
you,
out.
that's your fast action moving in there as you cross through this tunnel. There, the light that's being emanated from the cavern ahead is bright yellow, and when you enter this cavern, you stare in awe at what you can only describe as a star. It looks like the sun from home. It's yellow, but it's only 20 meters in diameter at most, and it just hovers in midair as
Wow.
you know, blue static fields seem to shoot across a series of emitters on the floor that clearly hold this thing not only in place but in some sort of stasis. You have a slow action.
All right. So there's a bunch of like machinery and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Machinery with a star in stasis. All right. Um, Is there anything discernible as like a console or like a?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's you see similar equipment to what you saw like upstairs in like room 4.
Okay. Um, I guess she's gonna try to go to one of these consoles,
Okay.
and she's gonna like tuck her pistol in her armpit and then like start monkeying with it and seeing if she can discern anything about
Uh,
anything.
all right.
Yeah.
So, uh, make a comtech roll
Ooh.
at a -2 because you've never messed with this stuff before, but you're a smart chick and you watched Mercer as he played around with different controls. And though you don't have the flute, you still have some basic understanding. Roll your panic.
Okay.
2 minutes to 10, guys.
Yep, yep, yep. As you tuck your pistol under your arm, you drop it. It clatters to the floor, but I don't think it breaks because it only dropped a couple feet.
Gotcha.
You
And,
do your stress level does go up by 1.
okay.
Uh, you think you have seen Mercer enough to know that if you fudge with this long enough, or fudge with this enough, you understand some basic concepts of what's going on here. Perhaps you can set this. It depends on what you're trying to do, but you think you can make this work. I am using, just so you know, I am using all your stunts to come to that conclusion.
Okay.
Because this is completely alien technology that you have only watched Mercer interact with. So I'm not giving you any stunts on that roll, but you had 4 successes, so I'm really just kind of giving it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Um, Mercer, you were away. Um, the alien was carrying you and climbed over the ledge, down the wall, dropped to the cavern floor, and then went through the cavern went through the tunnel up to 2. As you know, you're broken, but you're conscious, obviously. As you come around into cavern 2, you see what you can only describe as they look like eggs. There's dozens of them, maybe 100, who knows? But they look gray and brittle. Some have even crumbled to dust. There's also a giant, enormous, 14-foot tall creature against the far wall. Looks very similar to the thing that's carrying you, except it's got an extra set of legs and it has a huge head with a giant crest on it. But it's not black like the thing that's carrying you. It's gray and crumbling away like the ones up in the level above. And as you weakly protest and kind of still are recording, but probably half mumbling, "Kill me," um, it starts to spew this sticky, clear liquid that it's slathering all over you as it starts to entomb you onto the wall.
Fate worse than death, my man.
Hang tight, Marty. I'll come for you. Don't worry.
I bet. Um,
Funny.
Ace, what are you doing, Ace? And
I'm going in the room. I'm going to follow Elena into the room.
following Elena into the room. So that's both of your actions. You got a roll here, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I probably should turn this over to Elaine.
Okay.
Roll of Alex over to Elena.
Is your just tell me real quick? Is your basic emphasis at this point just doing whatever you got to do to help her and then get the hell out of here alive? Is that the
Exactly.
idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. There it is.
Poor
So
Mercer.
good luck, fellas. I mean, I will help pick out the headstones if necessary. All
Very
right.
good.
Sorry, I got a bolt, but thank you all for at least an hour of good time this morning.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Thanks for playing, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, I'll be talking to you guys soon.
All right, see you.
Okay. See you, buddy.
All right, so the alien's doing whatever the alien's doing. Um, uh, yeah. Um, it, what you up to, Helena?
So, um, she's kind of getting a feel for this console, and she like jumps a little bit when Ace like like walks into the room, and she's like, uh, "Glad you made it. Let's shut this thing down. Do you know anything about this?" And
I think Ace is.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ace really has probably been paying too much attention. Though he does have some comtech ability.
So,
Um,
can I ask a question?
please.
So Elena had 4 successes on the Comtech, but the panic gave a stress of 9, and it says drop item. Does that basically say her action failed?
No, 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 no. She just dropped her gun.
Oh, she dropped her gun.
Yeah,
Okay.
actions only fail on a panic roll of 10 or higher.
Okay.
Listen, I'm doing the strong female protagonist bit here, but
The strong, self-serving protagonist, female protagonist. Because
Girl boss.
if
You're
you were
girl bossing
Ripley,
it.
you would have picked up. If you were Ripley, you would have run, picked up TB's gun, and go charging after Mercer.
I considered it.
Yeah,
But
tempting, but no. To quote the great Val Kilmer.
all right, so I think she's searching for a way to shut this thing down.
Yeah,
Um, and if she's unable to discern that from a uh, technical standpoint, she's going to start looking for shit to unplug.
yeah. There's certainly it's much like the equipment upstairs. Everything is all integrated.
Mm,
So if your goal is to shut this thing down, I would let you make a Comtech roll to try to do so.
okay.
And Ace can help you, so you can gain a +1 bonus for that.
Okay.
Yeah, off you go, sir.
All right, here we go. Oh,
Oh, roll
Ooh.
your panic. Roll your panic.
do I have to roll 2?
Well,
No, just roll one.
Okay.
ouch.
Oh man.
um, uh, as you
Hmm.
start to mess with this thing, you realize your very limited understanding is not going to shut this thing down. You're pressing on these little egg-shaped buttons, and they light up, and different sounds are making. And then a bit of blue lightning arcs across between a couple of these emitters, and there's a humming sound that starts to build, and you lose your shit and you run to seek cover.
Okay.
So you must move your next action to move away from danger. Now that was your slow action. So your fast action, I'm going to have you move into the tunnel. Um, you are you are seeking cover. The your stress level drops by 1,
Okay.
but your buddy Ace, his stress level goes up by 1. He's up to 8. Oh my god.
And I pretty much. Oh jeez. So I gained a stress and then I lost a stress, basically.
Oh no, you didn't
Right.
gain a stress. No.
Oh, okay.
Um, um, yeah, you didn't gain a stress. Your stress just drops by 1. Um, I'm gonna have to
Okay.
figure out how that works cinematically
Holy
because your
crap.
slow action's the one that failed. So I got to figure that out. All right. Ace essentially used his slow action to help you, which means I'm going to have him. I mean, I think he sees you running for it, so he's probably shouting something at you like, "Did we do it? Did we? Are we good?" And then I think he probably chases after you, trying to get your attention. Are are we good here? What are we doing? Um, Mercer, you are fully ensconced on the wall. You're like this stuff that it slathered you with is hardening you. You can't hardening around you. You can't move. You're literally stuck to the wall, and it looms over you. It looms over you and opens its jaws. These metal teeth open up, and the second set of jaws opens up, and then all this disgusting viscous fluid just pours all over your head.
Ew.
Oh jeez.
I think that's worth a panic roll, don't you? What's the point except
Well,
just
I was thinking.
except just to have some fun.
Uh,
You drop the video camera. Video camera
oh my.
clatters to the floor.
Oh man, whoever watches it, it's going to be like Blair Witch Project.
It's going to be like Blair Witch Project. That's great. All
Well, and
right.
he can't seek cover, so he lets out. Oh, I get to lower my stress level by one.
Yeah.
But he lets out a blood curdling scream until the fluid starts covering his mouth. At
Oh
which
God.
point he
Oh man.
chokes on it and spits and sputters. And
That's fantastic. That's great, by the way. Elena and Ace hear Mercer screaming from somewhere in the cavern. It echoes through, even over the growing building hum from behind you. And gain a point of stress.
You're talking to me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You and Ace.
Oh boy.
Ace is at 9. Um,
Sorry, I'm over here coughing.
No, you're fine. You're fine. In your attempts to seek cover, I think you go running into Cavern 3 onto the grav tube and up to the next level. I mean, the gravity just takes a hold of you, or anti gravity in this case, just takes a hold of you and catapults you up to the higher level.
Oh shit.
Um, seeing that you've done this before, you don't have to make a mobility roll. You probably land in superhero fashion. One fist on the floor type thing. Um,
Very bad for the knees.
yeah, 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 yeah. And then Ace, as he's running after you, comes in, and as he runs for the same grav tube, he sees that the alien is back. Um, so we're gonna pull you guys over to here. Let me close that. We're gonna ditch Mercer. The alien's not technically up here; it's downstairs. But the alien's second move climbs up the wall, and it's coming over the ledge. It's right there.
It's on the ledge.
It's like crawling over the ledge at that moment.
Holy
And
shit.
Elena, it is your turn. You hear hissing as these black claws grip the ledge and this oblong head pulls over.
Oh man. So it's on the ledge. Ace is right there.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. She.
Oh, don't do it.
What's that?
Don't do it.
She takes another leap, attempting to jump over the alien into the grav tube
To go back down?
to go back down. Yeah.
Okay, that's a straight up mobility roll, sir.
All right.
You do have plus
Not what
two
I thought you were
dice.
gonna do.
That's not what I
Uh,
thought. Oh,
I,
you have
I
plus three. No, you have plus 2 dice. I'm sorry.
I thought about pushing him, but
That's what I thought you were going to do.
I don't think I can make it.
That would have been epic, though.
All right, roll with plus 2.
All right.
Wow.
Woo!
You leap over the alien, and a hand probably reaches up trying to grasp your ankle, but it misses as you leap over the alien and go back down into the cavern, landing on the grav tube. You have
Except it's
a
in slow mo, right?
Yeah, that's right. You have a mobility stunt.
that is some epic shit.
Mobility stunt. I don't have the thing open, but probably not interested in showing off at the moment. Is there anything that gives me additional movement? Or
No, but you can gain a plus 1 to your next mobility roll.
yeah, we're gonna do that as she intends to run back into the chamber with the sun.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So that's fine because you have a movement You do have one your slow action because that was technically a fast action. So
Mhm.
you've got your slow action that'll get you into the tunnel. Um, the vibration in the floor seems to be building. Uh, Ace, Ace, on the other hand, um, I think he's like, wait, we're going back.
Yeah, just try it.
He's got plus three dice. Okay. To quote the great Matt Smith, aka the 11th Doctor, Geronimo?
We're just kiting him around.
Oh no.
Oh, oh,
Oh
Please.
man. He's
oh.
about to try to leap and then he sees this alien as it's climbing over and he absolutely just freezes in terror. The alien gets a free attack.
That's not going to end well.
Oh, it pulls itself
Oh,
up and looms over him. Its jaws open, that fluid kind of coming out, and this second set of metal teeth jaws punch out of its mouth and right through Ace's skull.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
made a pumpkin out of his head, huh?
Kyle, I know you
Yeah,
like to DM a lot.
yeah.
I gotta tell you, there is very little as satisfying as GMing a game of Alien in which everyone dies horribly.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But your players have to understand what game they're playing because players get attached to characters.
Sure, absolutely.
But that's why one
Absolutely.
shots are so good because you don't, you know. Um,
Your evil cackles are the reason why we play this, man.
what is the heroine of our story going to do?
She pulls the last napper leaf out of her pocket,
Okay,
jams it into her thigh.
fast action, very good. So your stress is gone. Though that is that your second one you've used?
That is.
So you have minus one agility or minus one wits, your choice.
We're gonna go with agility.
Okay, very good. All right, what do you want to do with your other action?
So, does she have enough movement to jog over to the console she was at and
Yes.
pick up the weapon that she dropped?
You can move in and grab. You can move in, but you can't pick up the weapon. That's a
Okay.
fast action on your next turn if that's what you want to do.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, very good. Um, very good. Now, I'm going to. Okay. All right. All right, your turn. What do you want to do?
All right. She picks up the weapon
Okay.
and she looks around for the most sensitive, fragile looking component in this machine.
Make an observation roll.
All right.
Not
We are gonna
sure.
we're gonna push this.
Okay. All right. Gain a point of stress and re-roll. Roll your panic.
Ooh.
A panic on one die. Keeping it together. Two successes. Gotta be these emitters that seem to be creating the stasis field.
Okay, and the emitter is part of the central component
Yeah, it's like
by the
built out of
sun.
the floor.
Oh, built out of the floor.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so
three of them. By the way, with your second success, I'm going to
mhm.
simply tell you you hear something moving around in the large cavern behind you.
All right. She walks up to one of these emitters and she places the muzzle of the weapon
Yeah,
against one of the whatever she perceives to be the most fragile component,
fair enough.
and she looks at the opening to the cavern,
Yeah.
and she says, "Looks like you're out of time." And she pulls the trigger.
Oh,
Range combat roll, please.
All right. Uh, can I use a story point to make that a
Auto
hit?
success? Absolutely.
All right. That brings her to 0 story points.
Perfect. I love it. Uh, the pistol, the pistol, as the shot rings out, it echoes around the cavern. The round embeds itself into the emitter, which is some. It's not the same as the blackish gray metal of the scorpion tail or the upper levels. It seems more like something lightweight, maybe something more aluminum. It bends and and breaks. Um, and there's blue arcs of electricity or power or energy or something as this star in the room starts to expand. Now the alien hears that gunshot and comes charging down the hallway towards you into the room.
Oh man.
Um, and it would get to act again to attack you because it moves twice per round. But as the containment electromagnetic or whatever it is that holds the star in place fails completely, the miniature star expands, and in a far better death than whatever this thing would have brought you, you are incinerated.
Amazing.
The alien realizes too late that it's in deep shit, and it starts to turn to scamper away before it too is incinerated.
Oh,
Now, Mercer, you feel the whole cave rumbling, and you're half catatonic, half conscious, and you don't know what's going on. But as this wave of, you barely feel this wave of heat before it just consumes you, and you're sure that it's again a better fate than whatever weighted you stuck to this wall. The star expands, consuming the cave complex, the underground complex, and the city above, leaving a smoking crater where it once existed. Your ship left abandoned and empty and in one piece.
wow.
Eventually, some months later, 17 days for your network message to reach a hub, and then months for a Wayland Yutani team to come out. They find this smoking crater, and they find your empty ship with no sign of what happened to the crew and the scientific minds and security agent and corporate agent, et cetera, that came here. Um, an assistant pilot, you know, make sure the ship is completely in working operational order, which it is. No sign of damage or anything wrong with it whatsoever, except for some. Obviously, there's some trace amounts of radiation in the area from this smoking crater. And Wayland Yutani flies the ship away. You know, the ship that brings the recovery team lifts off, followed by your vessel. No one will ever know what happened on this planet.
Wow.
so
Wow.
Liv was right. We caused the disaster that propelled us back and forth through time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Ironic.
Now,
Irony.
here's 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 the layout of a couple things. If this hadn't happened, Mercer would have experienced a solid 48 to 72 hours of horrific pain as the goo from the alien's jaws slowly transformed him into an ovomorph, an alien egg
Oh,
containing a face hugger waiting for the next victim.
oh man.
Oh God.
Um, had anyone gone into Cavern 1, they would have found a laboratory of nightmares. Um, several tables with half dissected xenomorph remains, as well as a couple tables with half dissected engineer remains with big holes in their chest, um, and all sorts of interesting information that might have been able to be gleaned. If anyone had gone into Cavern 2, they would have found what Mercer found, which was an alien queen and a hatchery. All of it, all of it turned into to fragile fossils um, from the passage of millions of years. However, I would have been a particularly fun GM had anyone gone into that cavern. A time displacement probably would have hit them and bounced them back maybe a million years or so when the queen and the ovomorphs, the eggs, were still active.
Ew. Man.
Now,
Oh
now,
man.
if it was one person by themselves, I would have immediately bounced them back forward in time. Maybe an ovomorph hatches and an alien jumps and a facehugger jumps at them just in time for them to be bounced back and be okay. If there'd been two of you that went into that room, I'd have probably gotten one of you. The facehugger would have come with you, and one of you would have gotten attacked by the facehugger. Um, the so what was going on is the engineers here, in addition to experimenting with xenomorphs, were experimenting with time displacement equipment. The upstairs level, sublevel 1, that had the small dish set into the floor was their first test. And while it's burned out and broken, it was successful enough that they built the large dish in 3, powered by the miniature sun in room 4. However, with the destroyed consoles upstairs in sublevel 1 and room 4, the time displacement equipment is still active and it's still popping out these bubbles of time displacement that pass through an area, which is why you move out of the time you're in, and then when the bubble moves away, you move back into your normal time, which is why parts of the ship were disappearing, then coming right back. Stuff like that. Um, so theoretically, you could have eventually figured out how to shut down the equipment from the remaining consoles up above, or you shut down the star, or you cause the star to overload. One of the two. Of course, the hope is you get the star to overload, and then you manage to run away. Hopefully just one survivor, of course, getting back to the ship and escaping. But
No, the thing was, we spent some time in 4 trying to figure out the equipment, but it seemed like every time we started to do that, a bubble would bring the xenomorph, you know? Because
uh,
that was originally when we got in that room, we were trying to figure out what happened. And we were in the process of looking at the control panels and all the old dust, bodies that turned to dust when um, TB got transported and then came back with the xenomorph. So that sidetracked us. Then the last time we went in there, it was our intention to try and shut everything down. Now we thought that there could be some controls in the scorpion tail, but when we went down to that level, it was obvious. Okay, let's figure out these controls. Well, crap. How long were we in there before the xenomorph rose up and attacked?
yeah.
Not
Well,
even maybe a round.
no, but it was a perfect opportunity because you made an observation roll that had a panic attached to it, and even though you held it together, there had to be a reason for that panic.
No, okay.
And that was just the perfect opportunity. I couldn't resist. There was also a weapon in that room. um, but you didn't get the opportunity to find it or figure out what it did. Um, Pulling from the comic books post Prometheus, the engineers have two weapons, conventional, shall we say, conventional weapons, and one of them is called singularity paddles. Okay, singularity panels. If you were to look at them, they look almost like like defibrillator panels, paddles, but they fire off just what it sounds like. They fire off
Hmm.
these little singularities, like these tiny little black holes. Um, they do two damage, are armor piercing, of course, and cause an automatic critical, no matter
Oh
what,
shit.
even if the character's not broken. So that's your best chance to deal with the xenomorph.
Okay, because by definition, that black hole is absorbing everything inside its event horizon, and so it's going right through you and taking everything with it.
Correct.
It's like in the movies when they punch a perfect round hole right through.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But you didn't really get the opportunity to get to look for that weapon. There was one shot. There was one observation roll that might have done it, but it didn't. So, um, but that's okay. Uh, I guys, this was a lot of fun for me. I got to kill every one of you, and not only did you not complain or break down into tears, I think you enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it. It was awesome.
It's a rite of passage to be like destroyed by Xenos. It's just something that you have to go through. Like, surrender. Just let it happen.
and
Good
and
stuff.
and that's where this game becomes the most fun when you watch some of the actual plays online and players really not only embrace the death but really almost even take joy in it or cause perfect cinematic in-universe reasons for it to happen. And a prime example is TB's, is Sharif saying, "Can TB use a story point to act? How could I let that go?" I mean, that's like that's like Gorman and Vasquez pulling the last grenade out at the last moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just you can't let that not happen. You can't
Well,
let that
was
not happen. Yeah, that's right.
well, the whole game is about epic deaths, so you had to give a chance to have an epic death, right?
Now the worst part about it was if there was all this acid splash and none of it would have hit TB. Then it'd been like, "Fuck, we didn't get the payoff."
Oh yeah. Well,
uh,
next round. Um,
yeah, right.
well, and
But she went out on her own terms, and that's true badassery right there.
That is hell yeah.
Yeah, man. All you can do is spit in death's face sometimes. That's it. Everybody goes out.
It's just a question of how.
well, and at the end, Mercer, the whole idea of taking the video was to have it on video on his video camera to go with his entries in his PDAT about how he had found the aliens despite the meddling of everyone else, and that it was even though he knew he was likely going to die, he was hoping later someone would find it and they would go down in history and name the xenomorphs Merceroids or something.
Yeah.
Merceroids. I think he had a pretty good shot at that. I was hoping that would happen.
Except, little does Mercer know, Wayland Yutani already knows about the xenomorphs by this point in history.
Yeah, well, yeah, he didn't know
He
that.
doesn't know that. Yeah. Um, the one I feel I want to say the worst about, but the best about at the same time was Ace's death. I really wish Jim had been here to see it
Yeah,
Oh,
that was great. The
because
freeze was amazing.
I'm just gonna be blunt. There's no way he was getting out of that. And the reason I say that, I mean, it had been a near mathematical impossibility. He had no story points left. Um, his stress was at a 9. So on 9 panic dice, the odds that he does not panic, extremely little. I mean, we can sit down and calculate it if we like, but regardless, very minimal. And then if he does panic, no matter what he rolls on the panic roll, his action fails because he's at 9 stress. You roll a
Oh,
d6 and add 9. A 1 plus 9 is a 10, and he fails. Worse, or he rolls a 5 or he rolls a 6 and he gets a 15, which means he just slumps into a catatonic state.
so with all those dice, he had to have a miracle roll where he didn't have a single panic.
A miracle roll.
But with all those dice, he's likely to at least get a success. So he needed the miracle to work the other direction,
Correct. That's exactly right.
not get a 1.
And here's the thing: he was in that situation no matter what. If he chooses to follow Elena, okay, he's got to make a mobility roll to get past the alien. If he chooses to run away, the alien's at engaged range. He has to make a mobility roll to get away from the alien.
Yeah,
Or if he just says, "I'm going to use my pistol as a club and hit the thing as it climbs over the ledge," he still has to make a close combat attack with 9 stress dice.
right.
Odds are he's going to start to move towards this thing to club it in the head and realize this is a really bad idea, and he freezes up again.
Yeah.
Either way. But
Well, and
the
here's the
alien
other.
doing a head bite, though, no matter what, he probably
Oh
fails,
yeah,
right? But the alien doing a head bite specifically was so cinematically perfect because one of the aliens' attack is assessing the threat, where it stares at you and hisses. Ooh ah.
yeah.
That that doesn't mean anything in this instance. The head bite was perfect. You couldn't ask for a better option. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I was going to say too, though, is that without Ace, how are you going to fly the ship? Because I have read in some fan fiction where, in some fan fiction, they have the ships laid out with like an emergency takeoff button that anyone can push, and the thing will automated take off and put you in orbit. But that's all it does. You have to be able to fly the ship to do anything else.
Well, and that goes back to one of the very first of these games we ever played with let's see, it was Jim and Bob was there, and I can't remember his name, but he was a young guy from the Midwest. He played a few games with us before he couldn't play anymore. He was the sole surviving character. He was an android owned by a competing company,
Oh,
working for Wayland Yutani, trying to steal the secrets of the aliens from this station. And he was the sole survivor, and he gets on board the ship and fails his piloting role and damages the ship, and his ship just flings off into space, lost forever.
oh, can you imagine how that would feel? Whew, I made it. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Um, that's in a way that's almost worse than there being like one last alien left on the ship that nobody knew was there. You know what I mean? Because that's a loss and a failure of your own making, not just because your game master is evil.
Well, not only that, when you fly off into space, you're going to live as long as there's oxygen and food and water.
He was an android.
Oh, he's an android. He's never going to die. That's right. He's an android. So he he's going to spend eternity just by himself. Not even Netflix.
Oh man.
And not only that, an android, because their processing time is so short, because
It's gonna
computer
feel like
processing
forever.
time, it's going to feel, yeah, the first couple of months will feel like forever, but wow.
Though I guess there's an argument to be made that the ship probably has some sort of transponder, and somebody's going to pick him up eventually, right?
He
Um,
can't turn himself off, I guess, until he's picked up. If he's
Yeah, so he might be found 150 years later or something.
yeah, or more.
57 years.
10,000 years later, like Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
When he's found, they'll say,
10,000 years slumber.
or Duck Dodgers, if you remember your Looney Tunes.
Buck Dodgers. But it is fun that there's so many epic deaths in Aliens RPG. I think it's really kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's part of its
Oh, so
character
nice.
that you're going to have your head explode.
Yeah, I was half hoping that we might get a sequence with Elena where she's sneaking through the cavern system trying to avoid the alien, similar to Ripley at the end of the very first movie trying to avoid the alien. But this was great. Either way,
Man, I
it was
really thought Kyle
fantastic.
was going to push Ace off the list.
I
I
I
really
really
was like, oh no, here we go.
To do that, you have to have a successful grapple.
Yeah, it'd
That's
be a close
essentially it's a
combat
hand to
roll.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be a close combat roll. I was half expecting it either push him off the ledge or push him into the alien, one of the two.
I considered it, but I didn't think I could make the roll as easy as I could, like leaving him there.
Yeah,
So
that would have been such a corporate agent thing to do, though.
yeah, I would have.
In my mind's eye, when she leapt over the alien, I had her in my mind's eye. She was doing these um one of these like pirouette feet overhead layout things, like in the movies.
Sure. Yeah, I had a cinematic like slow twisty jump in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was really kind of hoping you'd fail that so that the alien could snatch you out of midair and kill you horribly.
Well, any one of those rolls at the end, it could have ended very poorly.
That's the way this game goes, man.
Yeah,
It,
but
the, People, if you look on Reddit, and we've talked about this before, not necessarily with you, Kyle, but if you look on Reddit, you can find threads where people complain about the stress and the panic system. That when the game gets deep, the stress gets too high, the panic rolls too often. Sometimes you get these cascading panic rolls where something that one player does causes a panic in that player, and then the
That's
effect
happened
of
to
that
us.
panic causes panic rolls in the
That's
other
happened to us.
characters. Yeah.
That's happened to us. You get like 4 stresses like within 2 combat rounds. You're like, I'm at 8 stress in the last 2 rounds. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and
uh,
and but my argument is pull yourself out of the mindset of the typical RPG for a second. This is not Actung Cthulhu. Where you guys in the end, maybe you start off as just normal people, but you start becoming very heroic as time goes on. This is not D&D where your characters by definition are borderline heroic by the time you hit level 4 or 5, right? This is not high fantasy. This is dark, gritty sci-fi horror, and you view this in the lens of a horror movie. And that is what is going to happen. You put normal, average, everyday people in these situations, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
this is the shit that's going to happen to them. It's just a fact. To
Yeah.
me, it's perfect.
Not only that, they have some talents that you can add to people to take credit for previous lives, like the hardened military veteran has seen some crap. Well, there's talents that will lower their stress or allow them to get through stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so you can adjust those talents based on the history of the character and give them a little bit more robustness to the system, but it has to be within their character. You wouldn't necessarily do it for, a
Well, and
18-year-old kid.
for example of that, if you guys are cool with it, do you want to switch over to one last mission for a second? It's that other alien RPG I sent you guys invites to.
Oh shit. Okay.
oh, are
Um,
we?
we're not going to
We're
start or anything. We're just going to look at it for a minute.
yeah, yeah. So
Dude,
we'd have
can
to
I
get out
can
of
I
this
have
game and
5 minutes? I've got to take
Yeah,
care of something real quick.
yeah. That's fine. Let's do 5 minutes and we'll look at that real quick since
Okay.
we're so
Cool.
early here. Mic test.
I hear you.
All
You
right.
hear me?
Yep. What the heck is that image?
That is my VR headset showing the corner of my desk.
No.
It's using the cameras that it uses to find the edges of the play area, like you're getting too close. It's
Oh.
using that camera. That roll 20 is very strange.
Yeah. That's
Let's see. That must be something in my video. Oh, it reset. I see. I mean, whatever. Whatever, roll 20. You crazy?
yeah. Right. Hmm. Now, why is it not? Do I have an avatar on your screen?
What do you mean by avatar?
You know, my down at the bottom. Do I have a?
No,
No,
no.
it's
It's just the mon the three.
now. Why did it go away? Why don't I have it? Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. Fudge! Now I've messed it all up. Shit. What am I doing? Um, I don't know what's going on. All right. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it too much.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can't hear anybody else.
No.
Hello, hello,
Oh,
hello,
okay.
hello.
Gotcha.
Kyle, you there? No. Kyle is typing. Ruh-roh. Hold on. Trying to connect. You can hear everyone, but you can't speak. Kyle, can you hear me?
Test, test, 1, 2.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, sounds good. I'm here.
Yeah. So, and I don't remember who I assigned to whom here. Let's see. Corporal Jordan Alvarez Stitch is that Jim? That's Jim. So who's your character, Kyle? Is it Patch?
Whoever the quippy one was.
Yeah, Isaac Delgado, Patch.
Okay.
So you're
Um,
a
go ahead.
Comtech Marine, and Marty VP, you're Grizzly, aren't you?
Correct.
Yeah. And then that makes Crom Longshot, or Sharif, I should say, Corporal Nathan Mercer. So, looking at Patch for a second, um, the way character generation works in Alien when you build characters from scratch, the core four abilities agility, strength, wit, and empathy you get 14 points to divide between them. Okay? And outside of any major changes to the character for some reason, those numbers are static. They never change. They never go down, they never go up. They just are what
Okay.
they are. Then you've got the skills, and you've got three skills associated to each stat. Now, in character generation, you get 10 points to divide between all 12 skills. And because each character has a career, certain skills at the very beginning, cannot go above one. Okay,
Okay.
and also humans cannot have points in more than 7 skills. So there's 12 skills total, and you cannot have points in more than 7. And the
Okay.
reason for that is just to point out that we just can't know everything, right? We just can't know how to do everything. Um, So now the reason I'm telling you all that is because Kyle, if you add up your total skill points, ignoring the four core attributes, but the skills around the outer edge, you probably add up to 11, maybe 12.
Okay.
Uh,
I I see the bio and info. I don't have the character sheet access.
what?
Yeah.
Hold on, hold on.
Me
Everybody
That
too.
can.
is that is the same with me as well.
Well, shit on a shingle. Hold on.
We're on a need to know basis.
All right. Kyle, close it and open it back up.
Okay. Yep, got it.
Perfect. All right, hold on. I know what the issue is. Please be patient while I resolve this. Um, it's good to know that that needs to be done that way. And then where's Grizzly? There he is. Darren Kowalski, aka Grizzly. Edit.
Didn't we talk about that before? That in the old war movies and in combat and some of that stuff, there's always a Kowalski.
Always.
Yeah,
Um,
we were totally talking about that. Starlock 17.
yeah. So basically, when I built
Oh,
these,
oh, oh, wait
go.
a minute. Wasn't the Holoming actor character in Forbidden Planet Kowalski?
Yes, yes, he was.
Oh my God! Now you're really going back.
So,
Forbidden Planet. That was a great movie.
such a great movie.
Oh, that's a classic.
So when I built these characters, I built out the basic character, and then I think I gave you each the equivalent of either 15 or 20 XP points to that I increased your abilities with, except
Very cool.
something. Oh shit, Grizzly, I'm missing something on your end. I gotta fix that. But that's easily done. Oh, there it is. There it is. And sorry, I didn't finish building out Kowalski. There we go. Should be saved now. Um, so you might have a couple points and extra points in skills, and you might have a couple talents. Um, and since we're not really hiding anything from anybody, your four characters, you're all veterans. You're all Marine veterans, so you've all been together. You know what each other's capable of doing. And since I'm on Patch for a moment, Patch has two talents. He's got one that gives him a +2 bonus to any Comtech roll to get past locked doors. Example, in Aliens, Hudson was the Comtech Marine. He's the one that bypassed the door when they first landed to get in. He's the one that was using the colony computer to figure out where the colonists were, right?
Okay.
And also, it's kind of interesting because you also have banter, which is what Hudson had. Um, Now, that's it wasn't because I went out of my way to pattern you after Hudson. It was just because the Comtech Marines don't get the best selection of talents, to be honest about it. And
Gotcha.
and someone in the crew had to have banter because banter is very important. Banter is you kind of get on a roll telling jokes, making fun of somebody, maybe even yourself, whatever. It's kind of one of those safe moments, and it actually lowers everybody's stress by one notch.
Okay.
You can only do it so often, and you can't just sit there and do it over and over and over. But it's up to me how often it works.
Well, over and over and over, it becomes annoying anyway in real life.
Well, that's true. Um,
You start taking stress.
Well, and you saw while they're dropping and Hudson's going on his tirade. The Marines are whooping and I almost said the Maroons, which would be funny, but the Marines are whooping and hollering, and Ripley's just got a look on her face like, are you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck is this guy? You know. Um, so like I said, I put out some points where they made sense to give you guys some different abilities. Some of you have two talents, some of you have three. Some of you have more points in your skills. You'll notice with one exception or a couple exceptions, you'll notice a lack of weaponry. Because let's be blunt, you're retired Marines, not active, but don't let that worry you too much. It'll be fine. Um, I and even though I'm anti AI art, as I'm sure you guys are aware, I did use Chat GPT to create your character images as well as the cover image for the module because I have to. I can't pay an artist to produce this stuff for obvious
Sure,
reasons.
sure.
I find it the most permissible use of AI art is for character portraits in RPGs.
Yeah,
It hurts nobody really. Nobody's
no,
making money off of it. Nobody's taking money out of an artist's wallet
that's right. I mean, I'm not selling
for
this stuff.
personal use. It's no
Yeah,
big deal.
exactly. I'm giving it out to anybody who wants to use it, um, and there's Stitch, who is
Damn
Jim's
Stitch.
character.
Oh,
Yeah,
what's up, Stitch?
yeah, he's dreamy.
He's a
Um,
dreamboat.
and
He can
then
rescue my colonists anytime.
and then you got Kyle Patch, which is
Ooh,
funny
what's
because
up,
he has
Patch?
a patch on his eye.
He
Um,
could be, he could be Stitch's brother.
he just about could be a little bit younger, maybe.
I'm gonna get him a clown, like a foam clown nose, so we can call him Patch Adams.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. And then there's Sharif,
Mm,
Oh,
Corporal
there you go.
Nathan Mercer Longshot,
mm, mm.
and then last but not least, Kowalski, Darren Kowalski, aka
Dang,
Grizzly.
Kowalski,
What a beast.
Could
you are stacked. You definitely are on the fucking gear, I think. Look at this guy.
I mean, could Kowalski be anything other than just some hulking guy? No, no offense to anyone who has the last name Kowalski. But I
He's a
had
walking pharmacy. I hope we don't have to take a piss test at any point during this mission. He melted the test tube.
um, so I'm actually really excited for this game. Obviously we need to get back to Acton Cthulhu. Your poor characters at Acton Cthulhu are languishing next to a lake, looking up at an evil Tibetan monastery. So
Ooh, that they were teleported to,
that's
if
right.
I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. You guys walked into the lake and then walked out, and there you were. So we definitely need to get back to Acton Cthulhu, but I am all over this one right here. Uh, One thing about my about a lot of my I look, you guys know I don't mind mixing IPs. And I've done that here, and I feel like I've done it in a really beautiful way. So I'm really excited to play this one. Um, you guys never got to play my building a better you scenario. Well, Marty VP has,
Yeah.
um, but it was one that I mixed into the Colonial Marine campaign. And while on leave, one of the PCs lost his eye in a battle in one of the missions. So on leave, they're on this planet where he has a consultation meeting with some docs. Oh, Kyle probably had to leave, didn't he? I'm not sure what his time cutoff was. But he had a
I don't believe
consultation.
he said.
Oh no, there he is. Okay. So one of the characters, he had a consultation meeting with some docs over at Cyberdyne Systems, a Wayland Yutani company, building a better you. And I wrote all these like they're on a bus and there's a commercial for Cyberdyne Systems, and it's they're talking about their process through the T100 processor and the T400 processor and the new T800 machine learning processor, and it shows a guy with a metal arm as he's trying to like grab a glass, and like with the T100 he just shatters the glass. And on the T400, he's got a lot more control, but he knocks it over. And on the T800, he picks up the glass and takes a drink. There's some veteran going, because of Cyberdyne Systems, I can run marathons again. Thanks, Cyberdyne. Stuff like that. And uh, of course, they end up going investigating Cyberdyne, and you know what happens? They go into the bowels of Cyberdyne, and they end up having to fight Arnold as a Terminator. Um, and it's a brutal, dangerous fight, but it's so much fun. Um, of course, we could never play it because Marty VP's already played it once. So,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, a
Thanks, Marty VP.
yeah, that's right. But let's be blunt. It's no surprise what's going to happen. Anyone who likes these IPs knows what Cyberdyne Systems is. They know what's going to happen on some level. They just don't know exactly when or
Yeah.
where.
Our challenge was to enjoy the ride to the obvious conflicts that were going to come, but not metagame. Because, that's, well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's going to happen. It's not even a question. So anyway, I'm excited for this one, but I think we need to get back to Actung Cthulhu for a little while against every desire I have.
Are you saying we're playing Octon Cthulhu next?
That's in the end, it's
Yeah.
up to you guys, but I think that makes the most sense. We've been away from it now for God over a month, close to two,
Yeah,
because we missed a
Henry
few weeks.
Henry Baker's itching to kill something.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You'll probably get your chance.
I got to
Uh,
practice my banter.
yeah, banter's one of the banter's one of the more difficult talents because it's obviously used best if it's role played out properly. So, um, but yeah, this one, I think you guys will really enjoy this mission. It's or this scenario. It's long from the standpoint that it's 3 acts. Of course, Stalker Out of Time was long too, and it wasn't really meant to be. I attribute that to you guys, which by the way is not a. I'm not taking a shot at you. I appreciate it. I like everything that you guys bring to the game that makes the games extend out. It makes them a lot of fun. Um,
Well, let me before we end then, I just have a question. If we had done stuff in a different order,
mm,
might it have made any difference?
Probably
In
not.
other words, I didn't think so either. If Mercer plays the flute to open up the the scorpion tail before we go in that other way, the
Right.
temple, we still end up in the same places.
Yes. Uh,
So,
the illusion of agency.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
As you guys know, I'm a horrible, hateful person. I claim
yeah,
to be a beneficent GM, but we all know that's not true.
yeah, but
Aliens would make
also,
anyone drunk with power.
Yeah, it's
Can't
true.
really help it.
but that let's face it, you can't have too wide a selection of actions, a freedom of selection, because you could end up wandering completely off the planet, or the moon. So you got to keep people funneled towards the objective.
Yeah, yeah, you guys, going back way back to our alien campaign a long time ago, you guys threw me for a little bit of a loop on the very first mission, or at the end of the very first mission, when you just decided, you know what, we're not going to fly right to UA space right away. We're going to go to the nearest third party, and I was like, wait, what? I don't have plans for this. What are you doing? it, but we got there. We figured it out. So, um, I am really glad that we did this. Because I've got another one that's in this same series that I've created that I haven't decided. if we're going to play it or not. Because in actuality, and I may even take it down altogether because it's on my website. But um, in actuality, it's based on an outline for a sci-fi horror novel I want to write. And what I did was is I reverse adapted it to an alien scenario within the confines of the alien universe. So I think a couple people have sent me messages saying they played it and their players loved it. But at the same time, if I'm ever going to actually turn it into a sci-fi horror novel, I don't know if I want to leave it out there or not. Um, so I don't know. I haven't made that decision. I'm kind of just spitballing, really. Um, but this will definitely be. I really think this is the next Alien we will play. We'll eventually got to get to Destroyer of Worlds, though. It's such a great scenario.
Count me
Campaign.
in.
You know what
Yeah, I
I
like
love the
the.
most about this conversation
Hmm.
is the hours and hours of pure fucking joy that we have to look forward to. That's great.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
It's very optimistic.
Well, gotta escape the real world at some point. Um, you know, it's whatever anyone's dealing with. It's important to get away from all that for a while. Um, this I think this one. I think you guys will really love this one. I know you'll love Destroyer of Worlds because it's just pure alien goodness. It's such a good scenario. It can get really dark at times, but we are an alien after all. It's not truly science fiction. It's sci-fi horror. It's really in a lot of ways it's more horror than science fiction. Um,
sure.
so, but all right, cool. So I'm counting on Sharif or Kyle. I'm counting on one of you guys to let know Jim how horribly and epically at the same time he bit the bullet. Or well, hey, no, he didn't bite the bullet. He got bit, is what
The
happened. But
the bullet bit him, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. So uh, I never realized just how. I guess I never realized how insensitive of a term that a phrase that actually is. Now that I think about it. But yeah, I'll rely on one of you guys to let him know how epically he met his end. Um, I just realized something. I've never posted any of these for this mission. I've never posted any of these videos on YouTube. So I gotta get that done. Um, but and then we'll I guess we'll play Acton Cthulhu next week.
Yeah,
I
come
do.
in.
I don't think we. Does
Sweet.
anybody have any conflicts next week?
I don't.
No, I'm ready to roll.
Okay. The only one I.
I'm big.
Oh, you know what? I've got an answer. Hold on. I gotta check on something. I have a 1 day show on Saturday the 26th. Um, and I don't know if I'm off that Thursday or not. Hold on. I'm getting there. What the heck? I'm having issues. All right, I'll have to look. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. I'm sorry. I got to do one more thing. Have you guys seen the trailer for Predator Killer of Killers?
I saw the poster. I haven't seen the trailer.
Okay, so let me get this and I'm going to link it for you. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. Outside when I was a teenager, don't get me wrong. When I was a teenager, I did. I watched some anime stuff back then. But anime was different back then.
Switching tab.
You had like Akira and Ghost in the Machine and stuff like that.
Right.
Anime now is become much more mainstream than it ever was when we were younger. So this is animated, which is not usually my jam, but it's it looks freaking epic. The guy who made Prey, I just linked it in chat. The guy who made Prey because of the success of Prey, was tapped by Disney to make an expanded universe IP, basically, to turn the IP into an expanded universe with anthology stories and additional movies. And
Oh,
for,
that's bad news for me. I hated Prey. I thought that was a terrible movie.
oh,
I did not like that movie one bit.
well, I did have a couple problems with it, but overall, I thought it was far better than most of the Predator stuff we got. And I
I
watched
just
it
thought
for
they
what it was
girl
in 19.
bossed it. I don't know why they did that.
Well, they
I was
did girl
very annoyed
boss it
by
a
that.
little bit. I will agree that she's convinced she can be a warrior, and while she does it through intelligence at the end, which is the same way Schwarzenegger beat the
Well,
Predator.
sort of. She full on goes karate like on the alien though. That was the problem.
Well,
She devolved. The problem with it is that they missed the character arc on the character completely. They aimed at it and then
that's
they
that's
just
uh
fumbled, in my
that's strong.
opinion.
Those are strong words.
Yeah, but I'll tell you how she never doesn't do the warrior thing.
That's true.
And what the opportunity that they had was for her to want and desire with all of her heart to be a warrior and suck at it and somehow have to dig deep and find another way that's not the way of the warrior to defeat the predator.
Mm,
And then at the end, when she gets nominated the big chief warrior of the
yeah,
tribe,
war
she
chief.
says, "Fuck that. I'm something better than that." That would have been so awesome. But she
Mm,
doesn't. She defeats it using karate, which was so dumb. Like
well,
she should have. They tried to do the thing with the technology that, but it just like they just missed it.
you know what? Sharif, that is a very valid argument, and that's honestly the first valid argument that I've heard. Most of the people who hate on Prey just hate on it to hate on it. You know what I mean?
It
That's it.
was almost great. This is why I don't like it. This is how it always is with me. When something has at its core like actual greatness, and then they flub it, whether it's like a movie or a book or a video game, I always get more upset because I know how good it could have been. This is one of those movies that could have been amazing,
You,
but
you,
it turned out to be trash because they couldn't get rid of the idea that this girl had to be the warrior, which was the death of it from the beginning because they had this great tension between her and the other warriors, and she sucked at it,
right, and she
right?
did. She absolutely did. That's a true
Yes, and
statement.
but they couldn't leave it alone. They couldn't like listen. This happens to everybody. None of us are good at everything. Like we have to. Every adult human has to confront at some point the fact that they suck at something that they want to be good at. And this could have been like such a great story because the tribe needs her. Like you can't give up because you're not going to be a warrior. That's not enough. What else have you got? And then she could have said, "Well, I'm smarter than the warriors," right? That would have been like an obvious path to take. But a good
Because
writer
she
would have come up,
was.
yes, and but a good writers or a team of writers would have come up with something completely you know, surprising, something fresh. Like, what is the smart play here that we haven't seen yet? But they didn't. They just had her be tougher than the Predator, which, first of all, is completely unbelievable. Just in the context of that movie, he wiped out all the warriors.
That's
Why are
true.
you going to outfight? She's. It's so stupid because it subverts itself.
Well,
Like it already killed the tribe full of warriors. How are you suddenly tougher
you know
than
what?
all the other warriors?
That again, that's a really valid argument. Because let's return back to, gosh, oh man, you're changing my opinion of this movie.
I'm
Um,
sorry, man. I didn't mean to destroy it for you.
well, no, that's okay. But now, regardless of that, I'll return to that in a second. Regardless of that, Prey was hugely successful and made a lot of money. So, especially because it wasn't a theatrical release, it was a Hulu release, right? So, watch this trailer anyway. It's an animated story. There's a couple different stories there. There's two different time periods, um, and it looks like it's going to be really really good. But you're right though. If we go back to Predator for a minute, okay, go back to Predator for a moment. After Prey came out, I saw an article that swore up and down that Prey tried to fix the toxic masculinity that
Oh no,
was Predator.
no. Prey's actually worse.
Well, you're right, because hold on a second. Look at Predator for a moment. Predator is not about toxic masculinity. In fact, all the toxically masculine characters, using modern terms,
They die.
they die, and they
They
die
die.
quickly. Hawkins,
That's
the
right.
one who tells pussy jokes about his girlfriend, is the first one to get it,
Yeah. They
followed
all
by
die.
Jesse Ventura, who calls everybody in the chopper a bunch of, homosexual slur. He's the second one to get it.
Yeah.
Everyone who tries to stand toe to toe with this thing gets annihilated badly.
Yeah.
Arnold outsmarts it, and he's winning for a while until the Predator levels the playing field. And what does he do? He picks up a log and swings it at the Predator, and he tries to punch the Predator, and the thing just kicks the shit out of him.
That's why it's scary. This is one thing that filmmakers really irritate me with, is because they don't understand how to maximize the scariness, intimidation of a villain.
Yeah, yeah.
They eventually make, and this is Prey suffered from this too. When a teenage girl can out kickbox you, you're not scary.
That's
Right.
Period.
that's pretty
Period.
valid.
Period. You're not frightening. And this is where girl boss movies don't get it. What they should do is beat the living crap out of their main character. Or, if not the main character, have a stand in for the main character who's obviously the strongest, toughest fighter around and beat the crap out of that person.
Would and here's the question to that: Would Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime was an extremely imposing guy? Okay, we see
Yes.
this in Predator. We see it again. Go back to Conan the Barbarian, which, even though it's not really perfect to Howard's vision of Conan, is still a great movie. Would Conan have become such an impressive hero if he hadn't gone through what he had gone through? These guys he's up against are huge. The guy who plays Rexor, I can't remember, he's a Danish guy. He's
Mhm.
taller than Arnold. Sven Ole Thorsen, who shows up in several Arnold movies, is as big or bigger. And even James Earl Jones at that time, while he wasn't muscular, he's a tall guy. I mean, the villains, and John Milius talked about that. It was important that the villains be just as physically imposing.
Right. They they
Um,
they always miss that when they do girl boss movies, because the girl boss movies are always a bit of a Mary Sue type of situation. Like Rey, for example, from the Star Wars movies. That character has nowhere to go from the minute you see her. Because the minute you see her, she's awesome at everything. So you don't care anymore. Like, she can speak multiple languages, she can repair starships, she can fly starships, she's good with the force already, she's great at hand-to-hand combat already. Like, there's no hero's journey of any kind for her.
hmm.
She's not relatable because the person watching the movie sucks at all those things. So we're going to ride piggyback through learning these things through the main character. And so there's a missed opportunity to make the viewer more invested in the movie by making the main character suck at these things and having to become good in spite of herself. It takes us along with the journey, and we feel something. We feel her pain, we feel her investment, we feel her blah blah blah. When the character's just good at everything from the get-go, it's like a yawn fest because
Yeah,
there's nothing at stake.
that's right. You never feel that she's truly in peril.
Right. And you couple to that the fact that their villains are neutered completely. I mean, there is no more neutered villain in any franchise than a stormtrooper. A stormtrooper is the least scary villain there could be because they never ever do anything. They never hurt anybody, they never kill anybody.
I,
They're
I
And they
just
can't shoot.
fodder.
Have you seen the meme where they show the stormtroopers bathroom?
oh yeah,
No,
there's
this sounds
There's
like it's going to be good.
there's pee all around the toilet.
Because they can't
On the
hit
rim on the
anything.
floor. There's none in the toilet.
That's funny. Well, I would love to see like a fan made thing where stormtroopers are vicious, brutal, efficient killers, and you're terrified of them. They're like Spetsnaz. When a detachment of stormtroopers lands on the planet, everybody shits in their fucking pants, and they don't kid around. They're highly efficient. They're very smart. They're fully trained. They're like, SS Wehrmacht, like what were they called? Sturmgrenadiers. Like the best infantry in the world, but fascist and evil. Like now it's something, right? when the guy who leads the rebellion is the toughest rebel that you know of is like summarily executed in the first 2 minutes of the movie by an overwhelming force. Now you have something to reckon against. That stakes are high. So you're like, if we fail, we all die. Like, when's the last time you felt that in any girl boss movie or a Star Wars movie? It's just they don't grasp it. Like the hero has to be fragile for it to matter.
And if
You
they're
know,
not fragile, if they're big and they're powerful, the villain has to be even
right.
more so.
And like the more they fall from your idea that they're big and powerful, the better it will be for your story. So like if you put Arnold in a movie, in order for you to care, it has to be subverted. Arnold has to be like in Predator, he has to get the crap beat out of him.
Yeah,
And he has to realize I am actually seconds from death. Once he makes that realization, you care about what's going on,
yeah.
right? It's just the way it is. Yeah, Prey missed that. They didn't get it, and because she insists on being a warrior, it makes her selfish. It makes the character a two-dimensional caricature of a narcissist.
Well, and that's an interesting point because it makes her selfish in a culture where selfishness is absolutely
Yep,
abhorred.
yep. I mean, it's a tribe dependent on each other, and she has to have it her own way. And that they missed that too. A true person who like really cared about the tribe would do whatever it takes to benefit the tribe. So if they had done a scene where she said, "Okay, I'm not a warrior, but there has to be another way," and she gets away from the idea of physically challenging this creature in hand-to-hand combat. She comes up with a trap. She invents gunpowder. I don't care what it is. She figures some shit out that no other person could ever have done except her because she's so smart, and saves the tribe through her dedication to the tribe by changing with what she can't change, right? Like she can't change that she sucks at being warrior. She gets all the warriors killed because of her stupidity. Um, and this is how she makes up for it. It's an arc. Now you have a character that changes and sacrifices instead of a character that stays exactly the same and wins no matter what how bad the odds are. She defeats everything easily, handily.
Make a great
That's her
point
point.
because horror movies are like that. What makes horror movies scary is that the person, the hero or heroine, is vulnerable
Yeah.
Yes, must
because
always be.
because the horror is something no one's ever seen before or expected. How could you possibly have talents that go up against that? And what you end up doing is rising to the occasion. You find something in yourself, or you find something brilliant. You do something brilliant. Either it's a character thing, it's a determination thing, or it's a brain thing, or all of them together to overcome
Right.
the horror.
Well, you're hitting the nail on the head because going back to Predator, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, and you will see these arguments all over the internet. Predator is not an action movie.
Oh,
It
guys, I got to go.
Oh,
See ya.
all right, no problem.
See you, man. Take
See
care.
you, buddy.
But Predator's not an action movie. It's a horror movie. It's a monster movie. Is what it is. At its heart, it's a horror movie, and John McTiernan understood that. Um, and talking about how all the bravado and all the big guns and all the muscles don't win. There's the gungasm scene, right? We all know that scene in Predator.
Yeah.
He fires off the rounds in his rifle. He picks up the minigun, starts mowing down trees. Everyone shows up, and they're all shooting and firing off their grenade launchers and stuff like that. And people who watch that scene for the first time, they don't get it because they sit there shouting at the TV going, "What are you shooting at? You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know what you're shooting at. What are you wasting your bullets for? Yada yada yada." And it's like, okay, anyone who's saying that either has never been in the military or doesn't understand the way the military operates. These guys are highly trained military veterans. Most of them have seen war, and now they're part of a private security organization. That's not explained in the movie. Dutch's group, his rescue team, they're a military contractor. They're not in the army. He even says at the beginning the one line that tells you, "Why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?" Because they're not army anymore. He's a retired major. Okay? All of his guys are military veterans. They're a close knit, highly trained team that have been working together for years. If they move into an area and one of their guys is blasting away, they just are going to operate under the belief that there's a good reason for that and they're going in. right? That's all there is to it. So, but the whole point of the gungasm scene um, is that they don't hit anything. Okay, that's that. Now we all know that the Predator got shot once at the very first few seconds of it, but in general, he didn't hit anything. McTiernan put that scene in on purpose because a studio exec said he doesn't have enough guns and explosions and shooting in the movie.
That's funny.
Really? That's
Dis-
funny.
Despite that whole scene where they attack the compound and
Right.
shit's blowing up and they're
They
gunning
blow up like
people down
50 dudes.
everywhere, yeah. He said there's not enough, so he said, "All right, well, I'm going to give you the biggest gun scene you've ever seen in movies."
Well, the
Uh,
thing I like about that scene is that it it helps to paint the picture of this group of the toughest men imaginable who are powerless.
correct,
And
correct.
that's part of the arc that's essential is that you have to confront the fact that the heroes like the end of act 2 needs to be at a point where the hero is defeated and you have no idea how they're going to
Yeah,
bounce back. This is
because
the whole point is you can't have the best stories, whether it's like the story of a divorce or it's like a love story or something of a couple, how are they going to get together, or it's like a military team in the jungle, like the same thing has to happen at some point for you to be like really blown away by the movie. Is you have to have no way of predicting. Things are so dark for the hero, the protagonists, that you don't have any idea how they're going to get out of it.
that's right.
That never happens with Prey. She's on a train track of how she's going to solve her problems that never changes. It
A-
stays the same.
And if you go to Aliens for a moment, Ripley becomes,
A badass, yes.
and
Yes, exactly.
she does it through necessity, and this is why the director's cut of Aliens is so important versus the theatrical release. The theatrical release cut a couple little basic scenes that were important to the development of her relationship with Newt. Okay? The knowledge before she goes into the meeting in Act 1 where they basically tear her down and tell her she's crazy and none of this happened. She has a little meeting with Burke where he explains that her daughter, who was 10 or 11 years old at the time, died from cancer 2 years before they found Ripley. She died 65 or 67 years old from cancer.
Hmm.
In Ripley's mind, her daughter is still a little girl. And now she's holding a picture of this old lady who died from cancer. So that,
That's fucking awesome, dude.
dude, it's the best fucking scene because it completely makes the relationship between her and Newt. Now you
Yes.
know why she has to do this. And
Right. That's amazing.
um,
Why is that not in a theatrical release? That's essential.
it's absolutely essential, and I have no freaking clue because it completely made the relationship between these two characters. And in the end, that's what we watch these movies for, right? Is we watch for the relationships and the character arcs. That's why Star Trek is so great. Even the
Well, it's
worst
boring. It's
Star Trek,
boring without that. It's just
correct.
boring. It's just straight up boring.
So
And you could do it for 15 minutes, like a short film, but like an actual movie, it's just too boring.
so the need for Ripley to go back and Newt, look, for the heroine's journey, she's going to do it even in the theatrical version. But in the director's cut, that need of why she has to do this, it's not even a question. You know what I mean? Whereas
But
with the theatrical version, part of you is saying, does she really have to do this? Can't she just get the fuck out? You know what I mean?
well, that's what I was going to say is that one of the things that you lose when you don't make that a part of your design of your story, on it, like where the character has to like sacrifice something to overcome something, like the thing that they're going to use to overcome fails, and they're left with like a choice, right? You have to do this to do that. Can you do that? That's where you get your theme from.
Yeah,
So if you and by the way, like one of the themes that you could explore is their failure to make
sure.
that move, that sacrifice, that whatever it is that they have to overcome. Like that's a perfectly awesome theme too, and can lead to some really dark cool stories where you're done and you go, wow, that's going to stay with me for a while, even though it was sad. But it's a story about human nature, how sometimes we can't get out of our own way, or sometimes, we can't do the right thing for whatever reason. So that could be that could be reversed, and the lack of them being able to do it could become a cautionary tale. But whatever it is that how they have to grow and choose and make the sacrifices, that's the theme of your story. And in a story like Ripley's, right, now you have themes about love and devotion that weren't there a second before,
Correct. Yeah,
right?
because
But she has to make this choice. Am I going to sacrifice my life for this little girl, this stranger that I don't even know, when everybody else has been killed? What do I have to do to make this happen? You have to dig deep. You have to give up the idea that you're going to get out of here alive.
yeah,
And she basically sacrifices her life the moment she straps on a flamethrower.
yeah.
She's like, I'm dead now, and I'm just going to, try to save this kid. It goes to a theme that has to do with parenting, that has to do now it's like so much deeper and richer of a story tapestry than just she just karates the bad guy.
Well, and let's keep looking at aliens for a moment. Okay, so they take off, they get away. The city, the reactor blows up behind them. They get away. They land on the ship. We know what happens. The alien queen shows up, tears tears poor Bishop in half, right? And Ripley goes running through a door while Newt is hiding behind the grates. And then the door opens up and Ripley walks out in the power loader, right? So let's pull the same move that they pulled with the theatrical edition, where they cut out the scene of Ripley finding out her daughter is dead. Okay, and she never got to see her daughter grow up. It's a trauma because she didn't lose. She wasn't 89 or 90 years old and lost her 65-year-old daughter. She lost her 11-year-old daughter in her mind, right? That's where it's at. But we cut that scene out. We're also going to cut out the scene on the Sulaco when she says, "Well, I can drive that loader." And she straps in and she picks up the big giant crate and says, "Where do you want it?" We're going to cut that scene out as well. But we're going to leave the scene in the end where she comes out in the power loader. Is the impact nearly as big?
Right.
We've seen the power loaders. We've seen other people drive them. Another Marine was driving one. But, I mean, when there were people in the theaters that when that door opened and she was in the power loader
Yeah,
cheered
yelled
out
out.
loud.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it was awesome.
your payoff isn't the same.
Well, it's if you don't set it up, it's a Deus Ex Machina type thing where
Yeah,
she just happens to know how to do this fucking loader. Oh, okay, great.
yeah, exactly.
But the other way, it becomes part of her backstory. And of course, it's like Chekhov's gun, because they're not going to show you her doing a loader unless it comes back later in the
Chekhov's
end,
gun.
right?
Yeah,
I think that's what the trope is called. Chekhov's gun is
yeah,
when
Yeah,
if
you're
you
right.
show anything to the audience, it has to be used somehow to further the plot. You can't
right,
just like, I'm a race car driver and it doesn't have anything to do with the story. You know,
right.
he doesn't have to pull himself through a car chase at the end. He just happens to be a race car driver. That's boring.
There. And when you guys were talking about stormtroopers, and he was talking about the stormtrooper meme in the with the toilet, it reminded me of another one I saw. It was like Schrodinger's stormtrooper paradox or something like that. And the stormtrooper standing on a target range, and the target, it's a small room. The target is on the other wall, like 5 feet away from him, and the bullseye is the whole wall. Just a situation where the stormtrooper can't miss, but as we know, the stormtrooper never hits anything. So, but the toilet one's better, but it reminded me of that one also. Um,
It's a shame that they're such mooks, because
yeah,
they're obviously just disposable bad guys to kill. They're not obviously supposed to be a threat.
yeah.
That's too bad.
It at least the old West End games system from back in the 80s made it make sense a little bit, because shooting with a blaster was like an agility based skill, but the more armor you piled on, um, your agility went down, which made it harder to use agility-based skills. So they tried to make, so as a result, with the amount of armor stormtroopers are wearing, like they literally can't hit hardly anything.
Well, except they're not hitting though. That's the problem. They're not hitting people with armor, and it's leaving like black scars all over themselves. And you're watching guys like land flat on their backs because they took a direct hit to the chest, but they're okay because they're armored. They don't show that.
No,
They
the
just show them.
armor just gets
They
blown
just
through.
they just show them missing constantly.
Yeah. Well, and their armor never stops anything. you know.
But the stormtroopers get killed a lot. It's the people that stormtroopers are shooting at that
Oh,
never
that
get
never
killed.
get hit. No, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. But I guess the point from the standpoint of looking at it from the game standpoint, if the armor actually did something, you might have an argument there. But
Yeah.
freaking Ewoks with rocks and 3-inch long arrows were getting through the armor.
I mean, dude, is there any more effective way to make your villains look like assholes, incompetent idiot assholes, than having them get their asses kicked by teddy bears? I mean, that should have never happened, right? Like they needed to come up with some unbelievably unforeseen way to make that work out. Like, come on, they got spears made of sticks with like flint tied to them.
Yeah.
How useless are your frontline troops?
That's when you gotta remember. You gotta suspend your disbelief and go. It's a kids movie.
Yeah, it's a movie for selling toys. That's why I'm not into Star Wars because it's always doing shit like this. There's nothing serious about it, but um, they could have been interesting. And it could have been like a statement about something more than just like killing teddy bears in the jungle. If you have this overwhelming empire, going up against teddy bears, you actually have a setup for a really great theme there.
Well,
Like
I mean, at its base, it's a fantasy space opera about good versus evil and redemption, which is one of the oldest stories in the book and makes a great story if told well. And
if
then
told well.
then you stick in Ewoks and Jar Jar Binks, and it all goes to hell.
Yeah.
Um, Kyle's a
No.
millennial. He probably loves Jar Jar Binks.
That is not true. No.
I've heard millennials defend Jar Jar Binks with their dying breath.
Man, how can you even try to do that?
Uh, and I
Yeah, no,
literally
I'm,
mean with their dying breath because I killed them for saying it. So.
How dare you?
so I have found that there's a lot of Gen Z kids that since they were raised with the prequels, they have fond memories of like Jar Jar Binks and the prequels, whereas I'm definitely original trilogy guy. So
Yeah.
That poor kid that played Anakin, though. Jesus, I heard about
oh
his
yeah,
story, and it's just so evil what happened to him. I
Well,
feel
the
terrible.
guy who played Jar Jar Binks had very similar thing. He went through a massive depression. He was suicidal for a while
Yeah.
because everyone hated the character so much, and it's like he just did what he was paid to do. He didn't write it, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I
Um,
was thinking about the little kid the other day. I was talking to one of my friends. We were talking about him specifically, and like it's not just terrible that everybody hated his character and they were booing him on the streets. That's terrible for a little
yeah,
kid. It'd be terrible for an adult. But imagine for 1 second that you're this kid, okay, and you get the news that you got picked to play Darth Vader in at
right.
least 2 Star Wars movies. Like you are, you're. That's it, man. You just reached the peak of the mountain. Like, can you be more like excited and
Well,
passionate and like you just won the lotto.
well, he's the only character that is on the AFI's top 10 villains and top 10 heroes. You
Dude,
know,
it should have been like a one-way ticket to fame and fortune and making him like a pop culture icon of some kind. And instead, he became the most reviled. It destroyed his life.
yeah, it
So
did.
not only was it horrible what he went through, but think about the fall of this is for a little kid who has like no emotional context for anything. Like he's handed the best news in the world. He gets to the movies, it's magical. He's making a movie, he's getting to play Darth Vader, and then he's hated.
Yeah.
And it becomes the worst thing he could have ever done. It destroys his life. Like, oh man, you can't fall far farther than that, man.
No.
That's a fall of 1,000 stories, man.
And
I feel so bad for that kid.
I can't
Jesus
imagine
Christ.
being an adult going through it,
I
much
don't think
less
an
a
adult could
10-year
like
old
get.
child.
Yeah, how does an adult gonna dust themselves off after that? Much less a child.
Yeah.
It's terrible, terrible. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go
Oh
dark,
no,
but
you're
I think
fine.
about
We're,
that kid
we're
very
just
often.
we're just bullshitting. So,
Yeah.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and you know, um, and the same thing with the guy who played Jar Jar Binks. I didn't really realize how much all the vitriol of the fans hating that character affected him until I read about it one day. This was a couple years ago, and
Mm.
I was just like, holy shit! I feel terrible because I'm one of these guys who hates Jar Jar Binks and was. I don't think I ever did a 4-page tirade online as to how much I hated Jar Jar Binks, but just in conversation with other people. Yeah, I was on the Jar Jar hate wagon. Who wasn't? The character was awful and served no point
Yeah.
except as a plot device. you know?
Well, he's a scapegoat in a way. They blame that character because he was so obviously poorly conceived. But the whole movie sucked. The whole movie had like massive fucking problems and plot holes, and
Oh yeah.
couldn't have been more boring anyway. It's a trade war, on
Oh
some remote
yeah.
planet that doesn't matter, and you get, Princess Leia light, and it just sucked. Everything
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I have to say that Natalie Portman really became one of my celebrity crushes as I've gotten old.
Oh yeah, why not? She's fucking awesome.
But it and even the second movie, which could have been really good, really wasn't that good. Um, uh, though the payoff of the whole prequel series is the final lightsaber battle between Anakin and Obi Wan. Really, Darth Vader at that point. That was the payoff of the whole thing. Um, and whether or not it was worth it just depends on how I feel on any given day. Because it's a lot of slogging through to get to that last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
And then they had to make up that weird thing about him having the higher ground. I never understood that.
it's explained in the novelization, and it's explained in all the other canon. Um, the
It's just a weird thing to come up with.
well,
I didn't never understood that.
the next side of it though is it doesn't really explain how Obi-Wan was able to jump over Darth Maul in the first episode.
Yeah, it makes no sense. They violated that more than once in their own thing.
Yeah, so
All right, boys, I gotta duck out.
yeah, it's fine. I got shit to do. So,
All right, guys. See you later.
all right, guys, take it easy.
Good ones. Have fun.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.